And we're live. Welcome to ChatLoopBackOff, or CNCF Ambassador Explores a project for the first time with you. Today on episode 68, we're going to talk about logging operator, and it'll be explored by Paige Cruz. I'm your host, George Castro, on the CNCF projects team, and we'll be here with you until the end of today's session. We're going to try a new format, just make it fun and light and interesting. So please add any questions in the chat. I'll be monitoring those, and I'll pop those up every once in a while, and then we can talk about it. This is an official CNCF live screen, so please abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which basically means just be nice. Pager duty. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and take it away.
Hi, I'm Paige Cruz. I've been a CNCF ambassador for a few years now. And really my kind of entry point to cloud native open source technologies was OpenTelemetry. That OpenTelemetry and distributed traces. So of course, Jaeger, and now I've extended my love to Prometheus as well for metrics. And today, kind of the last type of telemetry in my toolkit is logging. So I was really excited to get the chance to check out the logging operator live with you all today. So we were talking just before heading on live, and I wanted to do something a little different and show my process we could just go right to the quick install and we could just start running commands and seeing what comes up, but that's not my style when it comes to learning something new. So I'm going to share kind of my process first, and then we will get hands-on keyboard at the end. So let me share my screen. Let's do this screen. And are we looking good? Can we see things?
See, hold on. Hey, there we go.
Lovely. Okay, so my first starting point is always the official project page. I always want to go right to the source, like get my bearings, what's going on. We've got this friendly landing page, got a little bit of information about what the logging operator does. From the outset, I imagine it's a Kubernetes operator. So the dream is one command. I'm not having to go manually scale things up or keep a super close eye. Whatever could be auto-healed or auto-resolved, that's happening with the operator. That's what I'm thinking we're going to get out of the box with this. And logging to me means we should be getting both our cluster logs and any application logs for pods that are running on the cluster. That's what I'm thinking we're getting going into this.
Is the operator pattern usually pretty popular among logging? I would assume that most parts of this stack are very operator focused. Is that a guess?
Yeah, especially when it comes to your telemetry pipelines, kind of getting all that data from your clusters to your vendors or if you're self-hosting your observability stack, you don't really want to spend a lot of time getting into managing and operating these resources. You kind of want to let that thing go, run, collect your data, and actually go and benefit from looking at that data in your platform and analyze it. This isn't always the funnest place to spend your time, hence the operator. So I'm seeing two really big buttons right here, documentation and install. I think I'm not ready to install yet. I want to learn a little bit more about what we're doing. So I'm going to go to docs. Oh my God, and we've got a diagram already. I'm a visual learner, so this makes me happy. And we're taken right to this overview page. I'm seeing very nice docs here. It looks like we've got a lot of detail we can get into. Kudos. Okay. Nice. So I'm looking at our overview just to get how close was my assumption of what we were going to do match what logging operator provides? Well, it configures the log collector, currently a Fluent Bit daemon set. So I know that means that for every node in my cluster, there's going to be a Fluent Bit running to collect bingo, container, and application logs. Ooh, I do not see cluster logs on here. So that'll be something we can kind of bookmark and see for later. I do know Fluent Bit is able to pick up Kubernetes cluster, like admin API logs. From there, nice. So this is also what the operator is building in for you. From there, it's configured FluentBit to query the Kubernetes API and enrich the logs with metadata about pods, and also transfers the logs and that metadata to a log forwarder. So this part to me is really important because if we do not know what pod or maybe what namespace or a little bit more information about the logs itself, you might not know what instance of an application a log came from. Maybe one of 3 was having a problem. It kind of matters which specific pod it is, and you don't get that just out of the box. So this bit about querying the API, very important, very, very nice to have out of the box. And then the log forwarder. Interesting. Okay. I think there's a lot of, I don't know if this comes up a lot in these sessions, but there are a lot of terms in technology that are quite overloaded. And we also just have lots of alternatives and synonyms. So when I hear log forwarder or logging operator, I also think like telemetry pipeline. I know FluentBit can handle metrics and traces. So, but this seems to be very scoped to logs. And so I guess I would almost call this an exporter, but a forwarder makes sense.
Feel free to add your hot takes on the definitions themselves.
I mean, forwarder is very apt. I'm taking this log here, I'm sending it somewhere else. I think when I live in the Prometheus world, like exporter is kind of common. It would be nice to standardize on that, but hey, forwarders, it's descriptive at least. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm 1 and 2 makes sense. Log forwarder instance receives, filters, and transforms the incoming logs. That is also the power. We're not just taking these logs as is, adding a little bit of pod metadata and sending them outward. The power of FluentBit is that you can filter and transform. You could do a log to a metric. You could structure logs. There's so much you can do in FluentBit, so that's quite powerful. However, I said FluentBit, and I'm reading the rest of the sentence, and it says the logging operator supports Fluentd, which is not FluentBit. That is if you don't know, Fluentd it's the sibling. It was the project that came first. And FluentBit was a rewrite in C that makes things a little bit more efficient and like really good for the edge or resource constrained environments. Fluentd is written in Ruby, has a great ecosystem of kind of plugins and extensions, and is still, I believe a lot of people are still depending on Fluentd as well. But I do think it's interesting that Fluentd is here. And I wonder why FluentBit is not also the forwarder, why a FluentBit instance isn't the forwarder. And
we're going to find out.
Yeah, great. So here we go. And then so we got Fluentd for forwarding as well as syslog ng or the specific distribution from axo-syslog. Okay, cool. So in a nutshell, this operator is going to make sure there's a FluentBit that's collecting logs from your apps and containers on every node in your Kubernetes cluster. It's also going to make sure we know where these logs came from. We're getting that info from the Kubernetes API. And then there's this step where we get all these logs. They're great. They've got the metadata we want. Maybe there's some extra work we want to do, but then we need to get these logs out of our cluster somewhere safe where we can store them in a vendor or self-hosted observability stack. CNCF has lots of options for you there. Nice. They are always transferred on authenticated and encrypted channels. Love that. So okay, I'm going to bump down a little so we can see. Okay, here's me. We'll just put my face there. I am deploying the logging operator. Am I also deploying CRDs? I kind of thought those were coming from the logging operator. Okay. I'm just going to follow this. This is going to represent my cluster. I've got N nodes. I've got apps. Each node has a Fluent bit. Great. Those Fluent bits are sending over encrypted TLS to the forwarder. This is the forwarder piece, which, interesting. I wonder where this Fluentd forwarder is getting, or syslog is getting deployed. The logging operator configures either of these outputs. Okay. And then from there, this is where we're saying, okay, where do you want to send these logs? You don't have to pick just one spot. You can send them as many places as you want. Routing is also one of the powerful bits of FluentBit and Fluentd. Okay, I'm kind of feeling good about the overall direction here. Of course, the devil's always in the details. I have yet to run like a Helm apply and have it work on the first time. I love the idea of operators, but it always takes more configuration than just the hello world example. So we don't need to read everything. I'm just kind of scanning here to see if there's any information that's a little bit relevant. Probably good to mention the local environment that I'm using is a MacBook with an M2 chip. I use Podman for containers instead of Docker. I also have Podman Desktop installed. It's got a lot of nice things in it. It's like one click to get a kind cluster. It's got a nice UI for even looking at your local Kubernetes cluster. So I'll be using Podman Desktop as well to check on things. And what else? I think I'll be using a kind cluster. That's just because I have found it's the best support for my machine and Podman Desktop. I've tried Minikube, didn't have a lot of success, and I just kind of go with what works. I don't have an allegiance to any of the local Kubernetes setups. Okay, cool. So what is standing out to me here? Flow. That seems to be an interesting and important concept for the logging operator. And I'm assuming that is where you're configuring, I guess, what I would call a telemetry pipeline, or the rules and the transformations or the filtering that you want to apply to your logs. So maybe in the logging operator world, that's called a flow, not a pipeline. That's fine. We'll find out. Oh, I see. I love Podman Desktop in the chat. Yeah, it is awesome. It is one of my favorites. Okay. You configure the logging operator using these CRD's custom resource definitions. Okay, logging. Check. That makes sense. So it seems like the choice here that I really need to make is, oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting lost because there's a lot of parentheticals going on here. It seems like the real choice I have to make is my forwarder, whether I want Fluentd or syslog. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to bookmark. I know I'm going to want to go through this and almost use this as a checklist because it seems like these are the areas for configuration that might be relevant for me. Oh, okay. Oh, look at this. We got more diagrams. Oh, kudos to the docs team here. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So before our diagram was kind of just that super high level view of where the logging operator fits into your current cluster, and really just looking at the flow at a really high level. Now we're getting into the details, right? Wow, I like this diagram. Okay. NS, of course, are going to be our different namespaces. And we've got our apps. So here's the flow. Okay, so here's where flow comes in. In this case, we're matching these labels, annotations. We'll find labels perhaps. And then that goes to the output. And these are different colors because this is the Fluent Bit daemon set, and this is going to be the forwarder, whatever you have. And then in the forwarder, we just need to say, where do you want this to go? We got Loki, S3, Elasticsearch. You could do OpenSearch as well. This is CNCF. This is open source. We could throw OpenSearch in there as well. So I think this is just showing that there are just a little preview of all the different types of setups that you could have. I think that makes sense. So in this case, if we have front-end app 2, that is getting routed to a different Elasticsearch than this one. Or, yeah. Anyways, okay. So I think this is just showing with these flows, you really have a lot of power to route where you want these specific logs to go. Sometimes you want everything in a bucket for long-term storage. That's super cheap. Sometimes you want to send it right to your logging or observability or monitoring vendor or self-hosted stack. So, okay, nice. Before we go to quick start, obviously we're gonna go to quick start. That would be the place I would start. I just want to see what we've got in install. Is there any difference between, let's bump this up. I'm an old man. I need a big font. Okay. Helm. I've got Helm. I've got that way above that version. Whatever the latest kind is that Podman Desktop pulls, I feel pretty good. I updated things today. And we're going to be using Helm. Yes, of course we are. I don't have a problem with Helm necessarily. But what I will say is this command stresses me out.
Doesn't that just drive you insane?
Because I'm like, but wait, can I see what we're installing? Aren't there things that I have to configure? You've told me there's like 3 other things that there's some important choices I have to make. I don't know what the defaults are and if they make sense for my system. So I think there are lots of developers who are more than happy to copy paste, run this, and kind of learn as they go. I'm maybe more cautious. I like to read before I click. So I do appreciate these notes. Always helpful to have any anything you should be aware of before running that command if there's some conflicts on your system. And I will say, and those of us that use Podman, Podman is gaining a lot of traction and getting a lot of support, but Docker was the default for so long. It like dependencies on Docker and Docker config and login to registries, like we haven't quite untangled that at all the layers. And so I every so often do run into issues where something I deploy expects Docker to be there or expects something that they can pull from the Docker config. But I don't see any notes about Podman here, so that's fine. Nice, we can get metrics out. The configuration for the logging operator, I'm assuming. Fun. And great. So today I'm just going to be saying, let's just collect everything or whatever the default is. But obviously, if you're doing this at work or for your own stuff at home and you don't need every single log, it's always a good idea to filter to just what you need. All right. Notes. I love the notes because a note to me is somebody ran into this and enough people ran into this that we needed to add it to the docs. And so we benefit from the folks that ran into that in the first place. Okay, controller management. Nice. So this is like very nice. Image verification, chart verification. Nice. We're doing things secure. Before, I guess we'll head to the quick start. Okay, single app, one destination. Great. Basic capabilities of the operator. Love it. I'm working locally. This is not going to be production ready config or setup. And of course, we've got Helm going on. Okay, so this looks pretty. I think we're going to come back to this. The last place I want to check out before we go ahead and run commands is the repo itself. I like to look at a few places. I guess I can bump this up. Okay, that was a little too big. I like to go to the open issues and just kind of skim that first page just in case there's an issue that's being reported that I could run into with my setup. I would just rather know from the get-go. Okay, deprecations, labels. I'm not seeing anything that is going to be a showstopper for me today. And it looks like as soon as we get back to almost a year ago, October 2024, I'm going to assume, this is me assuming that is an issue that is not a showstopper for me today.
Can I mention something?
Yes.
The amount of due diligence you're doing looking at a project before you've actually started to dig in it is commendable to me.
It comes from being burned. As a young lass, I was the one that would just, all right, let's run this, let's try this. And I learned I'd rather save myself the pain and just learn if there's any issues people have already run into or PRs that are relevant that I should look out for. And in this case, bumping to Fluent Bit 4.1. It'd be awesome to use 4.1 today, but it's going to be fine. Cool. Yeah, no, I just I like to be sure about what I'm doing. And this looks, I mean, we're seeing active. I also, what I like to see is the activity. So yesterday, 2 days ago, logging operator is like quite active, which is makes me feel better about introducing it to my stack. Okay.
And all the CNCF projects are now in LFX Insights, so you can actually go see contributor metrics IRL in real time with embeddable charts and everything. Yep.
What? Do you have the
Type this LFX Insights, and then wherever it takes you, and then search.
Okay.
The box right there.
Oh wait, you saw it? Where did it go?
Typing Fluent, or I'm sorry, logging operator. There it is, right there.
Healthy. Oh, look at that.
Click the contributors tab. We have this for everything, by the way.
This is so slick.
Yeah, I know. This is why I want to tell people like you, because
this is a beautiful, I mean, yeah, this kind of centralizes the kind of what I was doing.
Yeah, this will really blow your mind. Move your mouse up.
Okay.
Keep going up. Right there. Yeah, scroll through these. Boom.
Hey. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So, okay, if you have questions, I think we know who we want to see in the logging operator CNCF Slack channel. Oh my goodness.
Scrolling down, we're measuring everything. That's the only way to scale.
That is so awesome. Oh my God. I'm like, I got to look at this for Kubernetes. I got to look at this for OpenTelemetry. Yeah. I will do that on my own time. We're here to talk about logging operator, but this is super cool. And this is a really beautiful UI.
Yeah.
Clean.
So what we're doing for the maintainers in the audience, we need these charts embedded in your readmes and things like that. So when a pro like Paige comes around, right, you're just giving them all the data up front that she would have had to manually get in the first place.
And I think this, when I think about enterprises adopting open source or bringing it into their stack, this is a really nice way to show with some metrics and data, why it's a good choice to go with logging operator, maybe versus some other things that you were considering. I love, you can really use this data to, if I was still practicing SRE, I would be all over this. Very cool. Okay.
Thanks for the commercial.
So, of course. Okay. Oh, there's so much to explore here. So anyways, I'll grab this and add to our resources, insights, and I will be posting this in the ChatLoopBackOff repo, so you can recreate this journey on your own if you so choose, or just want to grab the links to the insights. Okay. This README is also very great. I love when we also have great documentation on the repo's README, not just the doc site. People come in from different angles. If you just landed here, you're still going to be set up for success. So I think, yeah, this is all the same. If I really wanted to be super due diligent, I'd go through all those CRDs, but I don't know that that's the most exciting use of our time today. So, open an issue. There's a logging operator Discord channel. I'm not a Discord user, but there's also a logging operator Slack channel in the CNCF Slack. Also good to know, Fluent Bit has its own Slack. There's a lot of places you could go to ask. CNCF Slack's probably the best, most central place. So let's go ahead and follow the quick start guide, single app, one destination. I should probably show you that I'm not lying about having some of this stuff set up. Did I lose my Podman desktop? Yes. Okay. It's on my other 2 monitors. Okay. So if you've not seen Podman desktop, just this, I mean, it's quite self-explanatory. It's pretty great. I've got this section here for Kubernetes. I've already gone ahead and just set up my kind cluster. It was literally like clicking a button to get it going. And it looks like I'd love to see all my namespaces in one place, but I understand why we would do this. This is all I've got. Just the basic stuff that came out of the box with kind. There's really, I literally did nothing else. you know. And if I'm typing and you see KC, that's just my personal alias for kube cuddle, kube control. I hate typing it out over and over. Boom. Okay. Kind. Get cluster. Okay. With an S. Experimental Podman provider. It's been working for me. And boom, there's our cluster. So we have a cluster. It's ready to go. I have Helm. I got Helm. We've got kube control. I think we are ready. I'm going to move. I don't think we need the dashboard right now, so I'm going to move that down. So what are we going to do today? We are going to install the logging operator on a cluster. Yes. We're going to configure it. Okay, we're going to configure it after we install it. I might want to swap those. Knowing me, I'm going to want to swap those. We're going to install a log generator. Awesome. Love that they already just give us a sample app. It's so much easier to get up and running when you have synthetic data to work with. And then we're going to check the logs. Okay. To install the logging operator using Helm, use the following steps. You need Helm v3.8 or later. Okay, so I did one thing before the live stream that I will fess up to, which is I know that some of the cluster or some of the container image registry login is funky when it comes to Helm and Podman. That was one of those places where it was like, I was looking for this Docker file, and I really didn't want to do any of the workarounds for that. So instead, I was able to find, and the logging operator folks can tell me if this is good or not. I think it's fine enough for our local demonstration today. Instead of OCI, I'm just going to be pulling the Helm charts from here, kubelogging GitHub.io/Helm charts, because it's just not fun to debug registry login issues that have nothing to do with logging operator. So we're not going to... We're going to go to configuring first because I really do want to see what we need to set up. I think I'm interested in Fluentd. It's not something I've worked with before, so I already know that's a choice I want to make. Oh, okay. So this tutorial is set up so that I can just apply this after we've installed and kind of update the configuration live, which is fine for a local setup. I would not like to, even in a staging environment, I would like to have my config ready before I deploy. Create a Fluent Bit agent. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this still doesn't, for me, like I said, when I'm a little bit nervous about these Helm charts, for me, I'm still like, what are we even deploying? What values matter? And the other thing I did was to untar and pull down the logging operator Helm chart. I really wanted to see if there's anything I need to be aware of here. Oops. Okay. Let's do the rendered version. Okay. Okay, yeah. There we go. Helm install. Okay, so here's some values we care about. That's the repo, if not present, blah, blah, blah. Like this all, I'm okay with these defaults. I'm not sure if we need this or not. I think we will be, perhaps one of these is making a custom resource. We can come back to that. Security things, allowed profile names, Docker default. Perhaps that will be a problem. We will find out. And oh, that's the end of the README. Okay. Ha! Great. Fine. Let's look at the I guess where would we start? Let's just look at the values.yaml. Oh, I get so distracted by all the checks. Okay. This is the defaults. Okay, so what do we get out of the box? If you are that person that's like, no, I'm just gonna Helm apply, what defaults are gonna happen are set for you? I think everything we saw in the README. I'm wondering, though, where I tell it that I want Fluentd, not the syslog. And I'm not I think I was assuming that would be like a top level key here. So I wonder what choice is made for it out of the box. I mean, I don't think you can. It seems like the forwarder is a very important part of this whole setup, and we would not just like leave that blanker dangling. So I am just, there's a more efficient way to do this, I'm sure. Outputs, maybe it's outputs, but that doesn't really match the forwarder. I'm trying to match the language from the docs with what I'm seeing here. I know an output. I guess I'm assuming output here means the destination of where we're trying to send it. Okay, maybe not CRDs. What do we got in templates? I totally could have missed it, and because I don't I don't love looking at YAML. It's shocking. Well, we may as well just try it. At this point, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's going to be some default choice between the Fluent D forwarder and the syslog ng one. Don't know what one we're going to get, but we may as well try, right? So the only other thing is, where did my... Okay. Because I'm not pulling from here again, and that's just me and my machine and my setup problem, I have the equivalent command here, although what I am just checking is it equivalent? Yes, set test receiver enabled true. What does that do? Oh, ha ha ha. I think this lets us write the logging operator resources logs to stand out. We'll see. Okay. Anyways, I have the equivalent command. I feel good about this. Well, ooh, huh. Why? All right, no, let's go back to the beginning. Let's add the repo. Okay, well, why were you upset? Maybe I just need to do a Helm upgrade. Maybe the repo is already upgraded and we just don't need to worry about that. Oh, okay. Helm upgrade requires 2 arguments. Namespace was not found. Oh, and set was not found. Oh, something weird is happening with it's not, those slashes are supposed to be like, yeah, continue reading the command on these other lines. This just makes it nice for the humans to read. But for some reason, that just doesn't feel exciting for me to investigate. That was not the case. So I'm just going to put it all on one big line. It is the same command. Ah, look at that. Also, I apologize. My window management is terrible. Let me give us some room. Okay, I'll bump that up one more size. That feels good. Maybe one more. So what happened? We installed logging operator into the logging namespace, which we have now created. It is deployed. The first revision, we did enable the test suite, but none is here. So I don't know what that means. That's fine. Now is where I want to bring back my beautiful Podman desktop UI. And we should, maybe it just needs a little refresh. We should have, boom, logging. We have 1 pod. We have 2 config maps. Oh, I guess what it's not showing, that would be helpful, is the CRDs and all the custom stuff we just created. Cool. There's some config maps. There's our logging operator pod. It will always restart. Nice. It will pull if not present. Beautiful. We could forward. And it came up with no problems. I mean, look at that. That is what we like to see. Ooh. Is there anything, did anything come up in the logs that matters? I think it's pretty functional. Ooh, that log text though. We're just getting some info logs. Oh, it already is starting our metric server. I'm assuming exposing prom metrics. I thought I saw something in the values where we had to explicitly toggle that on. It seems like it's there. We could check that out. And yeah, I mean, everything's all just info level, happy. If I wanted to see the resulting, I guess this is it, inspect, the result of inspect, lots of metadata there. What does this do? I don't actually know. Inspect. Oh, this is the YAML version. So inspect is giving us like the JSON response, I guess. And then cube is like, if you need this in a file, here you go. Very cool. Okay, and then we can just get a shell into logging operator. Well, I think what I'm seeing is it deployed. There was no errors. I'm not sure where it's forwarding anything to, and my assumption from reading the logs is it's not configured out of the box to collect like the API server and like kubelet, like the cluster logs. I could be totally wrong. So I think there's a few things. There's like 3 things. Let me write them down. Let's see. Questions. What is the default forwarder? Fluentd or syslog ng? And yeah, okay. What is the default forwarder? Does this collect cluster level logs out of the box, or is that configurable? I feel like I had a third question. I don't remember. That's okay. What I do want to do though is right now I want to keep following this quick start guide so we can get that logging generator app going so we can see stuff flowing through. And then once we get there, we'll go back and be like, okay, what is the forwarder? What's going on? But it seems like it's pretty happy and like just running, right? KC. Logging, get pods. Yeah, it's running. There's no restarts. Look at it. It's almost 5 minutes old. No problems. And that was me just running the command, my modified command from the quick start guide. So that's great. You know what I should say, for all my hating on the times that I've run that Helm install command for other projects and it failed on the first run, this was a nice experience. I have some questions, but I'm not having to troubleshoot errors immediately on first deploy. Check that the following pods and services are running. I wonder what a deployment is, because I thought Fluent Bit was running as, I thought Fluent Bit was running as a daemon set. So I was like, what are we getting for a Kubernetes deployment? The logging operator itself is a Kubernetes deployment. Okay. Okay. So earlier, we should have, based on that command, also gotten this test receiver. We saw that it was enabled. Well, I tried to enable it, and then test suite none. The command I ran, I mean, unless there are different charts from this version and where I was pulling from the kube logging, which I don't suspect is likely. I'm not sure why that didn't work. So let's just add that as a question. What do I do? Troubleshoot test suite enabled, but no deployment exists. Okay. Let's just, you know what? I appreciate all of these validation commands. Let's just double check. Okay, great. That looks good. We're missing the test receiver output. I'm not yet concerned about that. Mostly because it says test. And things seem to be fine. So we already deployed this. Oh, Here's where I hope this is entertaining. I'm having fun. Here is where we are telling it what forwarder we want. So, love this. Sorry, I'm a huge nerd for doc sites. And I love just having these tabs right here. I will say I don't love cube control applying things from the command line in a staging or production, or if I'm at work sense. I'm totally fine to do that here today on my laptop. But this was the kind of thing where if I was doing this from an official work job thing, I would have wanted to set this up from the get-go. And I would have maybe wanted a little call out here of like where I could set that up. I'm just going to see, is there anything for forwarder? No. Kind logging. I mean, control F for logging, and the logging operator values.yaml is not going to be helpful. I see. So here's where we're doing this. It bothers me that I can't set this in the values. Just because how do I take this learning to my day job? But this is certainly easy for me to copy, paste, and run here today. Oh, name quick start. Slick. Okay. I almost want like, kind of like how Terraform or OpenTofu has like the diff. I kind of want to see what changed from before and after I ran this command. And when I mean I want to see it, like I want that visual diagram that we got from the README, just to quickly see where I could, without having to troll through all of these beautiful files, where I could have set this up myself in the values or in a template from the get-go. But I should let that go so we can continue on. Oh, good. Here's something by default. The logging namespace defines cluster-wide resources. So cluster output, cluster flow, and the syslog ng. Okay, yes, we did get this expected output. Beautiful. Weird. Okay. So now so we set up the forwarder. I want Fluentd to be handling, taking my logs, sending them elsewhere. Now we're going to add in that Fluent Bit agent to collect logs from all containers. What I'm wondering is then what the heck did iHelm install? What was all that stuff that got created if not those two things that I thought were like the whole part of logging operator? I have more questions than answers at this point, but that's okay. That is learning. And I'm not somebody that's going to say, I have these questions, I'll leave it mysterious. I'll go do after the live stream, if we don't answer them here, I'll go do that due diligence and share that in the ChatLoopBackOff repo notes for this episode. So I've copy pasted Fluent Bit agent, quick start. I'm literally not giving it anything. Like, I'm very curious what I'm used to working with Fluent Bit, I think, like locally and closer. And so I'm used to looking at Fluent Bit. Let me see. I just want to find a little config. Not this type of config. YAML. Do we have one? I guess what I'm looking for is a diagram that shows how pipelines are defined within Fluent Bit, and that's where a lot of that work to parse. If you are a Python, if you work with Python, you know those logs are multi-line. There's an out-of-the-box multi-line parser. I think I know some of more of the pipeline bits of Fluent Bit, and I'm very curious why I'm not setting any of that parsing up, or is that being detected? I'm not sure. Is this just a quick start and we're here to just get A to Z, like just things running end to end? And obviously you would have your own pipelines if this was work. Yeah, here we go. Oh, thank God. This is what I was looking for. I'm used to thinking about Fluent Bit in terms of this, like, where am I taking my logs from? What needs to happen to them? What processing? What do I need to match? Like, do I want to drop some logs that are like irrelevant? Do I want to specifically just allow list certain logs? And then where do I want to send it? So seeing like nothing for the Fluent Bit agent makes me curious and nervous. But we've got that agent started, so something's happening. We got the expected output. This is going great. Quick start. We are validating that the quick start works. Well, okay, let's check that the resources were successfully created. Git pod, select anything managed by quick start. Oh. Okay. So interesting. I'm curious what. Oh, the Fluent Bit agent is a daemon set, so it would not. Well, I feel like it should still have a managed by quick start label, no? But the namespace logging is probably, it's because it's a daemon set, it would be in all the name. Like, it doesn't matter what namespace it's on all the nodes. Maybe that's why. Okay, what do they have? No, their Fluent Bit came up. Hey, uh-oh, their Fluent Bit is there. There's Fluentd. And then there's the config check, which completed, and I assume is happy. Very good to check the config. Weird. Where is my Fluent Bit? KC git daemon set? I'm a little rusty. I shouldn't need to specify the namespace for daemon set, no? Namespaces. Okay, let's fix this. So are the daemon sets that we've got kindnet, kubeproxy, and then, just our baby brand new one, quick start Fluent Bit in the logging namespace. Oh, weird. This is me. Namespace logging. Wow, I totally would not have expected to have to specify the namespace for a daemon set. This is me making a note for me. Why did I have to specify a namespace for a daemon set? One question mark. Let's not be dramatic. Okay. Create a namespace. So now, ostensibly, we have our Fluent Bit agent, which is ready to get and collect application and container logs and send them to our Fluentd forwarder, which is not configured. I did nothing to say like where it should go. For this purpose, I was just going to have it put to like standard out so we could check it out, because I just don't feel like bringing in a logging storage backend this morning. But I am not sure what the default is for the forwarder, where it is thinking that it's going to send logs that it collects. So let's continue on, because I believe the last bit of this is us deploying like sample app or a logging, something that generates logs that would get picked up by our new logging operator. We're going to create a namespace. Yep. Okay. Create a flow and output resource. Oh, maybe this is when I should have learned what a flow was. Okay, really quick, I just want to confirm that a flow, what I'm assuming it is like this Fluent Bit pipeline. Let's just double check that. Oh no, weird, it's a Fluentd thing. So we don't do anything with Fluent Bit. We're just letting that sit there. And it's just configured because it knows Kubernetes and it knows containers and how to parse container logs from Kubernetes. Huh. Okay, so I'm less familiar with Fluentd. So maybe this is totally something if you're a Fluentd user. Yeah, of course it's a flow. It's a new term for me. It's a namespace resource, so only logs from the name. You can match based on Kubernetes labels, containers, and host names. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So it's like moving some of this pipeline logic from the daemon set agent on host, which you could set up Fluent Bit to do this. As we've seen, Fluent Bit totally has all of these options. But instead, we're just treating the agent as like collect the logs, grab the metadata, and send them. And then we're saving all of the maybe more resource intensive pipelining activities to this Fluentd. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what does this example do? Takes anything from the default namespace, although I believe we'll be using the quick start namespace, and this sends it to S3. Okay, so this is what I was expecting from the get-go, was to set up filters and stuff. Okay. In a multi-cluster setup, you cannot easily determine. Append your own labels to each log using the record modifier filter. Okay, so if you have multiple clusters, that's something you should be aware of. I am very happy that if we had time and I had energy and interest, that I could really go deep. Like these docs are linking out to lots of very helpful resources. I can go right to the spec. This is not like super human readable, but if I really needed to see the spec from the get-go, like that is, I appreciate that. We get the same instruction set for the syslog. Wait a minute. Where is our application? Oh, I was on the wrong tab. Let me do some tab management. So following the quick start has been working for me, so I'm not trying to stray from that path right now. Let's stick with Fluentd. What are we applying? Let me read what we're applying. Oh my gosh, and we're good. I think we're getting to the end of time, so I better hurry the heck up. I mean, nothing is suspicious here. Oh, this is probably the test receiver is going to bite us. That we do not have this test receiver. It did not deploy. I don't think we have a service for it. Well, no, nothing's complained yet. Yep. Okay. All right, we are going to get here. Ooh, what happened to my formatting? Okay, I don't know. I don't see anything for problems. I see actives and I see some ages, so that seems fine. Oh, the formatting's wonky here too. I don't know. All right, so now we are. What is the log generator? I didn't pull down that Helm chart. Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. See, so this is what I meant earlier when I had to do that modified command because of when I tried to do Helm install to the GitHub container registry and enter my password on stand-in, it just hangs, and I guess that like is a problem, and it's like I could just like hand make the file that it's looking for, but that feels so janky to me. I wonder if I can find this Helm chart in Kube logging. Can we try that? Oh, what a oh, that would be so disappointing if we made it this far and couldn't get the silly app to deploy. Various Helm charts, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, I actually don't know how to get here from, like, any of the repo or anything. But this is the project site we were on, /Helm charts. I guess, could I do, like, a Helm search for this? Is that... Oh, Helm. I know what a chart.yaml is. I'm not... I think the easiest thing for me to try, and then we can kind of wrap up at 5 minutes and maybe recap, is if I take, what do we need? The log generator. And I just put that here. Will this, I don't. Helm upgrade namespace is quick start. Create namespace, check. Okay. We don't need this test receiver thing. Okay, maybe this will work. Maybe not. I don't have high confidence. Oops. So what did I do? I did not change the name of the chart, and now logging operator is deployed to the namespace quick start. I wonder if that will cause problems. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna try one more thing, and then oh, look, our log generator deployed. Let's really quickly. Oh my God, 4 minutes. Okay, the clock is on. Let's look at the logs. What I want to do is confirm that the logs from the log generator are being generated. Mouthful, meta. But this, if we see the logs here, then what I'm hoping we can do is confirm that the Fluentd log forwarder has them and is trying to send them somewhere or is printing them to console. And look at all of these beautiful logs that are being generated. Okay. Where's my Fluentd? So like, I don't expect Fluentd to be like streaming the logs, but I guess the forwarder is supposed to be trying to send this somewhere. Where that somewhere is a mystery to me at this moment. Config reload. And if I knew Fluentd better, I know Fluent Bit has a CLI tool, and I could kind of shell in and ask Fluent Bit like what's going on. I'm not confident about that with Fluentd. So in the interest of time, I think we should recap what we've learned and the open questions that I will be answering. How does that sound? Okay, there's a lot in the chat I'm going to have to catch up on. So, and perhaps these questions have already been answered there. Oh, I see the Helm repository of kube logging has been deprecated. Oops, don't listen to me there. What you should do if you want to try this on your own is follow the real instructions that exist. Where did my browser go? You should really follow what is, okay. What is recommended with the actual Helm repo that is supported, that is trusted, things are signed. Do not do what I did today. If you're using Podman, let's figure out how to resolve this OCI thing. I'll make a note about that. OCI, Podman, what's the deal? Because we should be doing things secure and proper and following what's supported. But we learned the logging operator has two main components we need to worry about. There's an agent that's going to be on your nodes collecting those logs. That agent is going to send those logs after grabbing info from the Kubernetes API, so we can identify whose logs these are, where they're coming from, where they live, send them to a forwarder, and that forwarder, you can say transform, filter, route to whatever destinations or endpoints that you need for your system. And this all pretty much worked out of the box. I didn't really run into issues with any of this. The OCI stuff, not logging operators problem. So I'm feeling pretty good about what we learned today. All right. And I believe we are running at time. So I will have to catch up on the chat. You can continue the conversation at the CNCF Slack instance in the logging operator channel. There's also Fluent Bit and channels and Fluentd. Fluent Bit also has a Slack instance. So there are lots of ways to get connected with the community if you've got questions or want to continue this conversation. So with that, I think we're done. Thanks so much for joining today. I don't know how to leave. Are we still live? Sorry, I'm reading the chat now.
Oh my God. Oh, my browser conked out. And I was like, I need to talk to you. That was incredible.
Okay, is it still live?